Hi, in this video, we'll talk about throws keyword in Java. So what is throws keyword in Java? We'll discuss all these things in this video. So before that, we'll see theoretically what is throws keyword. So if there is any chance of raising checked exception in the program, then we should handle either by try catch blocks or by throws keyword. Otherwise, the code will not compile. So we already saw in our previous videos that there might be a chance of raising some exceptions in our code. When there is an exception, then we need to handle that using try catch block that we already discussed. There is another way to handle this, that is using throws keyword. Okay. Throws is a keyword in Java which is used in the signature of the method to indicate that this method might throw one of the listed type exceptions. So this is a keyword to throw an exception. Okay, throws is a keyword in Java which is used to signature of the method to indicate that this method might throw one of the exceptions. Right. With the help of an example, you'll understand everything. But throws is a keyword to handle exceptions, and it will be at the method level as a signature. Okay, use it in the signature of the method. So how it will be associated with that method, we will see with an example. Throws keyword will delegate the responsibility of exception handling to the caller method. Okay, so the method which is having exceptional code, that method is responsible to throw exception. Okay, so that is what throws keyword will delegate the responsibility of an exception handling to the caller method. Throws keyword only used for checked exceptions. So it is only used for checked exceptions. Throws keyword only for throwable types. Otherwise, we will get compile time error saying incompatible types. Okay, so everything we'll see by taking one example. So throws keyword only for throwable types. Otherwise, we will get compile time error saying incompatible types. Throws keyword only for constructors and methods, but not for classes. So already we saw in one of the previous points that is associated with the method signature, not with the classes. Okay. So if you talk about this one, the syntax, how the syntax will be. So access modifier, return type, then method name. So that is the keyword. You see that here throws. So let me. So here you see that throws keyword. This is the throws keyword. It is associated with this method. Okay. So then you need to mention which exception you are expecting. Exception type 1, exception type 2, something like that. So from the above syntax, we can use throws to declare multiple exceptions also. This is not only for single exception. So you can handle multiple exceptions also with the help of throws keyword. You see that exception type 1, exception type 2, and etc. Okay. So first we'll go to the Visual Studio Code and we'll try to see a few examples to understand what exactly we discussed. So let me go to Visual Studio Code. So here I have taken one of the classes called, let me close other things. So throws keyword example. So this is normal try catch block. This is what we have already seen in our previous videos. If you find an exception here, thread.sleep. So we are able to handle that using interrupted exception. Thread.sleep will throw what interrupted exception, then you can handle. So first we'll try to execute this and we'll see what exactly it will do. Okay. Java C program name dot Java. So I did a mistake. This one. So one more is missed. Let me compile again. You see that it compiled properly, no issues. The reason is, so we are handling that exception, okay, using try catch block. But we are discussing about throws keyword. So how it will be? So for that, we don't need to use try catch blocks. Okay, we'll remove this. I will remove this. So this is a simple program. In the main method, I'm just mentioned thread.sleep. So it will raise an interrupted exception. So if you try to compile now, you see that unreported exception, interrupted exception must be caught or declared. So with the help of throws keyword, okay. So at the method level, throws is a keyword. So interrupted exception, right? So this is how you need to mention. This is the syntax. So it is at your method level, so not to the class. So now it should not throw any exception. When I compile this, you see that it is compiling. Means we are able to handle with the help of throws keyword. We are handling these exceptions. So without try catch block, this is another way to handle the exception. Okay. So now, if I take any other examples, okay. So let me take another example. Right. I'm just trying to read data from one of the text files. If this is the case, okay. If this is the case, if I try to compile, now you'll get an error saying, so first I need to use scanner and file. For that, I need to import this java.util for scanner class, java.ivo for file class. So if I try to compile now, you see that unreported exception, file not found exception, right? But I'm handling interrupted exception. So we need to change file not found exception. I'm not writing any try block and catch block. So now it will compile without any issues. You see that it compiled. So with the help of throws keyword, you can handle your exceptions. Okay. So now we need to discuss one more thing. So let me cut this code and put here as a let it be like this. So now let me take one example. So here I'll take method 1. Okay. From the main method, I'm calling another method called method 1. So then I'll create method 1. So public static void method 1. So inside this, I'm calling another method, method 2. Okay. So now I'll create this method, public static void method 2. So inside this, I have thread.sleep of 1000. Okay, just an example. So obviously we know that it will raise interrupted exception, but I'm not handling anywhere using try catch block. So and we discussed using the throws keyword. Okay, throws keyword, you can handle this, and we have seen that throws is this wherever you get the exception. So the caller method is responsible to handle this. Who is calling this thread.sleep? So method 2. So method 2 is responsible to throws this exception. So fine, I'll just, so first without throwing any exception. So first we'll try to execute this and we'll see the behavior. So no exception code there. You see that at line 14. So at line 14, I'm getting unreported exception, interrupted exception, right? So that we expected. Now I'll use throws interrupted exception here, right? So now I'm handling this using throws keyword. Now see the behavior. You see that at the 10th line, you see 10th line where I'm calling this unreported exception, interrupted exception must be caught or declared to be thrown. So the problem here is problem, or we can say this is the way how it will behave. So method 2 is method 1 is calling method 2. So method 2 is raising this exception. Obviously, method 1 also should handle this. So because of that, we need to put this syntax or throws here also. So calling method is responsible for that, right? So method 1 is calling method 2. So because of that, method 1 also should handle this exception. So now if I try to execute this now, you see that when I execute first, it will be on the 14th line, then 10th line, now 6th line. Why 6th line? 6th line is calling method 1. So it is throwing an exception. So it should be handled by who is calling this method. Main method is calling this. So again, we need to use the same throws interrupted exception here also. Now if you try to execute, you see that it is compiling perfectly. So if you use throws interrupted exception, if it is called by another method, that is called by another method, how many methods are attached means there is a link between these methods. Those many methods has to throw this. Means it has to throw. So that is one of the weird thing. So then the best way is to handle this is try catch. If it is try catch, only in this method is enough. No need to handle something like this. Okay. So better way to handle these exceptions is try catch, but this is also one of the another ways. Okay. So if you remove any one of the link, if I remove here in between, even then also it will not execute it. You will get the compile time error at the line number 10. Okay. So the chain should be there from here to here, from here to here. If the chain breaks anywhere, you will get that exception. Okay. This is how we need to handle this exception if you calling a method inside another method. Okay. So that is one thing. And what about user defined exception? Okay. So user defined exception, we have seen that how we can do that, user defined exception, and that exception should be of throwable type. Okay. So I will remove all these things. So let me remove, otherwise let me comment this code. I'll just throw an example. I'll show you an example, simple thing. So I will write public static void main. String args. So what type of exception this is? I'm raising this is the same class. Throws this exception. Okay, throws this exception. So, but this is not of type throwable. So obviously it will not execute smoothly. So we'll observe the behavior. You see that incompatible types. We already discussed this. So throws keyword only for throwable types. Otherwise, we will get compile time error saying incompatible types. Right. That is what we are seeing here. Incompatible types. Okay. So because this class is not a child class of throwable. So then what I can do? Extends exception or throwable, whatever it is, means it should be a child of these classes. So if I compile now it will compile, no problem. You see that it is compiled. The reason is now this is of type throwable or exception. If you put throwable also, no problem. It should be a child class of throwable or exception or any exception. So if you give runtime exception also, okay, I saved and I compiled. So no issues. So this class should be child of any one of these exception classes. Then this is user defined exception and we are able to use that. Okay. So this is the usage of throws keyword in Java. With the help of throws keyword, you can handle the exceptions. Okay. So what could be the possible interview questions from here? What is throws keyword? Purpose of the throws keyword. Okay. So that's all in this video. Thank you.